Hello, and welcome to My Finance Teacher. In this video, we are going to look at Bitcoin, and I'm quite happy about that because we haven't looked at cryptocurrencies for quite a while. One interesting thing about Bitcoin is that over the last few years, it has had quite regular cycles which last for about a couple of months. Looking at this year, for example, all through 2019, we've seen these cycles in Bitcoin. They're usually just on time, the log scale of this chart. We see a cycle from December to February, February to late March to early June to late July. Now we're in the current cycle, which I think is going to give us relatively lower Bitcoin prices over the next few weeks, sometime in early October, because we only have 1 week in September left. And for now, I don't see any significant movement down within Bitcoin that shows me the end of the current ongoing 2-month cycle. Now, zooming in a little bit, another reason why I expect a cycle low sometime in early October is this triangle pattern. We've been in this triangle pattern all the way since sort of mid of July. I see a descending triangle here. Of course, if I move it up a little bit, I'm cutting off some of these wicks over here in the middle of July as well as the end of July. But if I allow for that, I see a descending triangle. And we've talked about a descending triangle for a very long time in the middle of last year, and that gave us, as expected, a huge decline in price. Based on pattern history in finance, descending triangles break on the downside with around 70% chance. And of course, there is a smaller chance that we might break on the upside from that descending triangle. Based on this narrowing of the triangle, it basically becomes a little bit too narrow for Bitcoin price sometime in early October, and I think it's going to give us a breakdown. So that's going to give us a 2-month cycle. Late July to early August, we have a strong rise and a declining phase all the time since then. Although I am bearish on Bitcoin in the very short term, in the medium term, I am bullish, and I think that decline into early October is going to be a nice buying opportunity before Bitcoin starts the advancing phase of that next 2-month cycle. Now, talking about possible price targets, since the early part of this year, 2019, we had a very strong rally in Bitcoin. And all the way since the middle of summer, we haven't really seen much correction to that rally. When Bitcoin was going higher, this 10-day RSI was regularly very deep into overbought territory. While during the consolidation period, we don't really see even just a 10-day rather than 14-day RSI into oversold territory. With relatively low volatility since second half of summer, what happens in this case is that these moving averages, for example, this 50-day moving average, catches up with the price, and the price is just oscillating just around that moving average. As I mentioned in my previous videos, often the periods of low volatility are replaced by periods of high volatility and vice versa. That's why I expect some high volatility, possibly starting with a sharp move down, which will finally give us some oversold levels, maybe deeply oversold levels on RSI, 10-day RSI, possibly even on 14-day RSI. Once we have a breakdown from that triangle, the next support zone below that, I've mentioned that in some of my videos, is over here, formed by the top at the end of May. That is somewhere around 9100. I do expect that support zone to be broken as it's very close to that base of the triangle. So the next couple of support zones might be more interesting, which are here at about 8300 by mid-May top, and over here somewhere at about 7500 by the June bottom. Additionally, if you look at the 200-day moving average, the blue line here at the moment is just at about 8300, close to one of those support zones. And lastly, if you look at all of this rally we've had since the beginning of this year, actually since December last year, and if we put Fibonacci retracement numbers on, we'll see that the 62% retracement is not far from that support zone. It's at about 7300. And as I mentioned before, from our experience, we know that 38, 50% or 62% retracements are most common. Currently, Bitcoin price has already retraced 38%, so a further dip to 50 or 62% retracement is quite possible. After all, we've been in a downtrend all the way since early August, and the trend is your friend until it isn't. And the time when this trend is going to be broken with the Bitcoin price going up into the advancing phase of the next 2-month cycle is the time when you will probably hit that buy button. By the way, talking about the buttons, remember to hit that like button as well. Let me know what you think about Bitcoin price going into Christmas this year. Subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, that's @myfinanceteacher without the last letter R, and good luck in your trades.